You know what? I have no idea what lesson this is. Friends and neighbors, welcome back to the Brownstone. I just want to give you a quick lesson, but a very important lesson, because there's something about the C major scale that I really do not want you to overlook. And it's something that is very easy to overlook. And I'll get right to it. The very first lesson in the beginning of this series was the start of a process that allowed you to learn the first 3 notes on each string. And we went through and played them all. So the first 3 notes on the E string, A string, D string, and G string. On the E string we have E, F, and G. The A string, A, B, C. The D string, D, E, F. And the G string, G, A, and B. Now if that's too fast for you, that means you haven't fully understood lesson number 1. You can go back and check that out. So then we went on to play all of those notes, right? And from there, we had an understanding of how to play the C major scale. So now we have all of these notes. And then in the last couple of lessons, we've been focusing on playing the degrees of the scale. And I associated those degrees with numbers. So if I start from the top of the scale, that's basically 8. And then we go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now here's the thing. If this 8 and this 1 are the same note, in this case C, then I can play as follows. I have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And if I stop at that 3, we have 2, 1 after that. But if I stop at that 3, check out what happens. If I play from the low C, I can do the same thing. And then at that point, we will cover the first 3 notes on the first 2 strings, moving in a descending order, right? So if I have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, then those are the notes that we have already learned in lesson 2 of the beginner series. So now, when I play through the scale, I want to have an understanding of all of the notes. I have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And that takes us down to the lowest note that we can play on a 4 string when playing the C major scale. And then we can do the same thing when we go back up. E is the 3rd. So we go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I can also do something else. Watch this. If I start from that low E and then just continue on with the numbers, check out what happens. I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if I keep going, I'll have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll stop at the 13th. But those degrees are also known as extensions. So when you see, when you run into a chord like a B flat 7 flat 13, then we're talking about these degrees of the scale that go past the 8. So when I stopped at the A, that was the 13th. A is also the 6th note of the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now you know that the 13th and the 6th are the same note, the A. If I stop at the 11th is the same as the 4th, right? Here's 8, 9, 10, 11. So when you see B minor 11, there's a B minor with the octave of the 4th, which in this case is the note F, the 4th note of the scale. If it sounds complicated, then just use the numbers, right? If I start from the 1, it's the same as the 8. So I can go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So in your mind, when you start to play more complicated harmonies, and maybe you see some of these weird chords that might look a little bit baffling to you, then just think about the scale. When you see those extensions, the sharp 11th, the flat 13, all that business, then just think about where those notes are in the scale if you start with your root note as 8, right? That's my 11th. If the chord is going to be a sharp 11, then that means it's the 4th note, sharp, which is actually a cool sound. We'll get into that later. Okay, so now that we've covered all that, I hope that all makes sense. It's a bit more of an advanced lesson, so you don't have to have a very deep understanding of all that right now. But there's a reason why I wanted to get into that. And it really has more to do with covering those notes below my root note, in this case C. Because now what I want you to do is play through a chord progression, but play through the chord progression in a very cool and very musical way. We're going to play through a chord progression known as the 1, 6, 2, 5 chord progression. Now, in this case, we're talking about the first note, that's the 1, the 6th note, that's the A, the 2nd note, that's the D, and then the 5th note, that's the G. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring the A and the G down an octave, right? So if I just play quarter notes of those 4 notes, 4 times on each of those notes, it'll give you an understanding of the harmonic movement happening through the progression. So listen to the way these notes move and you'll understand that this is a very common chord progression that you've heard dozens, hundreds, thousands of times before. Check this out. Here's my 1, C. The 6 is A. The 2 is D. And then the 5 is G. How do I get that? This is the first note of the scale. The A is the 6th note of the scale. The D is the 2nd note of the scale. And the G is the 5th note of the scale. That's how we get 1 to the 6 to the 2 to the 5 and then back to 1. All right, that's level 1 of the exercise. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take the information that we gained from the previous lesson and combine it or add it to these root notes, which means we're just going to play consecutive odd or even notes in sequence starting from each of these root notes, the 1, 6, 2, and 5. If you remember in the last lesson, we basically just started with odd numbered notes or even numbered notes in sequence from each of those root notes. We're going to be doing the same thing with this progression, starting from C, going down to the A, going up to the D, and going down to the G. So here's how we do that. If I outline those triads, what we have is our C, which is the 1, we can go 1, 3, 5. Then we go down to the A. Now, if we think about moving through the numbers in order and continuing on from 8, then we would have 6, 8, 10. But when you look at what's going on, you've got the 6 going up to the 1, going up to the 3rd note of the scale, right? How do I get that? Again, the A is the 6th note of the C major scale. If I take that A down the octave, that's what I get. You could also play the open A there. So, same thing. So now I do the same thing from the 2, which is very simple because that gives us 2, 4, 6. You could also play the open D. And then the last triad starts from the G, which is the 5th. We're going to go down to the lower octave of that G and play 5, 7, up to the 9th, or 5, 7, the 9th is the same as the 2, right? That's D. So I gave you the numbers, now I'm going to give you the notes. These are the notes of each of these triads. We'll play C up to E up to G. Then we'll go down to the 6th and play A up to C up to E. Then we'll go down to the 2, that's D, up to F, up to A. And then G, up to B, up to D. So those are the notes of our triads. And you can already hear how musical that sounds. You don't have to play this. But if you can, it's great. So I'm going to take this slowly, because I suggest that you do as well. And I'm just going to keep a very slow tempo and play the triad and then leave a space. So basically I'm going to play like a 2-bar pattern where the second bar is just going to be open, right? So it'll be like this, starting from each of those triads. So starting from C, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll play that again. 3, 4. C, E, G, E, C. 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be the pattern, and we're going to do that on each of these triads. So, play along if you can. 1, 2, 3 from the C. 2, 3 from the A. From the D now. And then going down to the G. Let's do that again. From the C. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. Down to the A, which is the 6th. 6, 8, 10, 8, 6. Now 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6, 4, 2. And then what are these notes? 5, 7, 9. Right? And then back to the C. Okay, that's the next level of this exercise. And now the last level of the exercise is going to be the most challenging. This will probably be more of an intermediate level of the exercise, but it's fun and it's very musical. Here is the deal. If we play each of those triads, then I also want to be able to use the scale when using those triads. And if we're thinking about the numbers, then here's what I want to do. I want to play up to the highest note of the triad and then count down in order back down to the root of the triad. So if I play 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, right? I'm going up to the 5th. So what I want to do is be able to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now I'm going to extend this pattern to give you a little bit more space to process the two ideas that we are now combining. We're going to be playing the triad, and then we're going to be playing the notes in sequence from the top note of the triad down to the bottom note of the triad. So it goes like this. If I start with C major, I'll play 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. And then I'll go 5 down to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'll do the same thing. 6, 8, 10, 8, 6, 2, 3, 4. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 2, 3. Now 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6, 4, 2. and then 6 down to the 2. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 5, 7, 9. 5, 7, 9, 7, 5, 2, 3, 4, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I don't know why I have so much trouble with that particular triad, but that's the end. So let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 8, 10. 6, 8, 10, 8, 6. 10 to 6. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6, 4, 2. 6 down to 2. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. 5 to 9. 5, 7, 9, 7, 5. And then 9 down to 5. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And then we'll end on the 1. That's the exercise. Hopefully all of that information makes sense and you'll be playing through these triads and these patterns in no time. And I'm going to leave it at that. Hey, listen, if you like this lesson, do me a huge favor. Click like, you know the deal. Like, share, subscribe, donate to the channel if you're in a position to do so. All of the above is greatly appreciated. And I thank you for tuning in. And I will see you very soon in the next lesson. Peace.